And we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. Do you have that ticker?
Yes, hold on.
All right, that's okay. Good morning from the office. It's time for tax tips with H&R Block. Beth Bennett, and we missed you last week, Beth.
I know, I'm sorry. I was hacking. You didn't want me on here. It was terrible.
Well, I'm doing it today. That's what I'm doing. I'm gonna just hack through the next hour.
Or the next, till summer gets here, I think.
It takes so
this
the
fall is
pollen.
awful this year.
How are you doing?
I'm good. I sound terrible, but I'm good. Like you said, I sound bad, but I don't feel bad. So.
Okay. Now, in the break, we were talking. We have covered so many subjects here, and if you'll go to fetchyournews.com, okay. If you'll go to fetchyournews.com and go to our business section on any of the websites, go to our business section, go to news, go down to business. You will find all of the H&R Block tax tips that Beth and I have done every week here. If you want to go back and check some of the ones we've talked about. This week we're talking about travel expenses.
Travel expenses. Are you a Georgia resident? Are you a part-year resident? That's very confusing for a lot of people. Not sure what they can take, what they can't take. So thought we'd talk about that for today.
Okay, so you just put a whole lot out there. Are you a resident? Are you not a resident? How much percentage of time do you spend in the state? Whatever. So just start working with all those several factors. So
if your home is here, your house and your family and your driver's license, and this was new to us last year, we had this problem. North Carolina actually said someone was a resident there even though they didn't live there all year because that's where their voter ID was still registered. And they made them pay North Carolina tax. So if your home is here, your family is here, your driver's license and your voter registration is to Georgia. Georgia is your tax home. Now, if your job sends you away, if your job that you currently have now sends you to Indiana for 9 months, and it's a temporary job, less than 1 year, Georgia's still your tax home.
Right.
And if you're traveling back and forth to that, say you're flying out every Monday morning and flying home every Friday night, that's tax deductible. Any of your cab, your parking fares, the travel back and forth, all your meals. If you're renting an apartment or a hotel, that's tax deductible. Your meals while you're away from home, that is tax deductible. However, if you take a job, say in North Dakota, as lots of people have over the last 5 to 7 years.
So you've dealt with a lot of these tax returns where they're in they work in North Dakota, but they're from here.
They live here.
Right.
And so that one's kind of tricky because a lot of people, their family stays here in Georgia, but they go work in North Dakota because, you know, the economy busted, there was no work here, and North Dakota was paying great money to go work those oil lines, right? So a lot of people left their family here, and they traveled back and forth. Now that's not the same, and that's just regular commuting. You don't get to take any of those expenses. That's just like me and you driving back and forth. Now, it's a lot farther, I agree. However, you took a job up there.
So now, folks, this is some of the reasons why we discuss on every show that we do tax tips with Beth Bennett from H&R Block, that it is important to get to know your tax preparer and to have one. Because I don't like to say this is confusing, but it is. The tax law, the government, thank you, government, for creating all this creative tax law.
Creative. They get very creative. That's a very nice way to put it.
If you have your driver's license in Georgia and voter ID, your address, and your family's here, and you go to town only for a period of time, a year, and you've not taken a job somewhere, the job you have here sent you there.
Yes.
Then you're still a home base of Georgia taxpayer.
Correct.
But if you take a job in another state like North Dakota, but you still have a Georgia driver's license, you still have, so if that company, you take that job, that's different.
That's totally different. Two totally different scenarios. And in that instance, you would pay North Dakota tax.
So you have to file a North Dakota return
Yes.
along with a Georgia
Well,
return.
even if you're a non-resident and you work in those other states, like my husband does power lines.
Right.
And God love this weather, he's not been home all tax season. Right? He travels here, there, and everywhere. Last year on our tax return, we had 5 states. Now we have to file each one of those states, and he paid taxes. They take taxes out of his paycheck when he's there for, usually when he goes on a storm, he's gone 5 to 10 days. Okay? And so, not that much. You file. For instance, Oklahoma, I get a $4 refund from Oklahoma. And they sent me a letter and they said, we can't send you that refund until you send us a copy of your W-2. So I'm sending them a copy of the W-2 because I want my $4, right? But for each state that he goes to, we get on our W-2, it's broken out, the income that he earned there. And then we have to file that state, we file as a non-resident of the state of Oklahoma, Arkansas, Alabama, all those states, wherever he might have traveled, because Georgia's our home. And then Georgia gives you a credit for paying taxes to other states as well. It's a nice thing about
Okay,
Georgia.
so is that equivalent to taking a job there?
No, because his job is here.
Then
And
why
then-
is he not just paying, why is he getting a credit from Georgia and why is he not just paying Georgia tax?
They changed the law on that a couple of years ago. We used to not ever get anything like, I want to say 5 years ago, did they change that? And that no matter where your home base was, because his home base is here, this is his job, it's his company, they take all their trucks. And
So your home base is here, you still file the Georgia tax, but if you're working somewhere like these other states, you still have to file their tax, and you got a place there to say that Georgia's your home base.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, you're a resident of Georgia, you're a non-resident of the others. Or some people are part-year residents of states. The state stuff gets very complicated there.
Well, I'm glad you brought this subject up because we're actually in a tri-state area where there's people that live right here where we're broadcasting this morning that go to work in Tennessee.
Correct.
And go to work in North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Let's use an example. Let's say you lived in the great Gilmer County and you traveled this morning to Murphy, North Carolina because you, I'm going to go with blackjack dealer because I like blackjack dealer.
Okay.
You always make friends with the blackjack dealer, okay? We'll just go in there, just saying, all right?
I'm just saying.
We had to have a job, all right? So you're a blackjack dealer in Murphy, North Carolina, and you live in Gilmer County. We work with that?
We can work with them.
Because you have to know that information when they come in. What's your occupation, where you work. They work there 5 days a week, 6 days a week. They have to do North Carolina tax. They took a job there.
Yeah. They will pay North Carolina tax on that because they earn their income there.
Do they have to pay Georgia tax?
They will pay some Georgia tax on that.
But they get a Georgia tax credit because of some money's out of state?
Yes, it's very tricky. And each state has their very own laws that might be completely different from the other one. So when we get into those, there's always a lot of research involved to make sure that we get every credit. Because yes, Georgia will give you credit for paying taxes to another state, okay, but maybe North Carolina doesn't. See what I'm saying?
Okay, so you have
some.
to know. You don't just have to know Georgia tax law. You have to research other states to make sure you maximize the credit for your customer who you're preparing a return for, because Georgia may not, North Carolina may not give the credit. Correct. Oklahoma may not. So you have to know those states and you have to research that tax law.
Yes.
And I will say around here, that's common.
It's very common. And we have a lot of people move here from all different states all the time, and they may still have income. Say, I retired from Florida. We're getting a lot of retirees from Florida move up here to the mountains. But yet they still have rental property, investment property in Florida. So they still technically have income they're earning in Florida, but they live here.
Well, I have a friend in Union County that, a friend, okay, one, at least in Union County, that for the Union County Union Panthers football team, her husband works in power lines like your husband. And when I go to the football game, Sometimes he'd be there and sometimes not. When he wasn't, he was like, well, there was a storm in Long Island, and he could be in New York because there's a storm. So every time they go to one of these states, you have to itemize the money they received while they were there.
Correct.
Wow. Now, I think what I'm trying to establish this morning for all of you out there is you need a tax preparer. That's what I mean, because that's not uncommon. And let's go into other travel expenses. Should you keep up, no matter the job you have, should you still keep up with all your mileage? Should you still keep up with your clothing? If you work in an office and you're a guy and you have to wear suits or you're nothing?
Suits don't count. The clothing has to be very specific to your job and can't be used as everyday use. So really pretty much, if you work like in a mechanic shop and you've got your uniform with your name.
Right.
Those are usually generally always taken off. Scrubs in the doctor's office.
Okay, so occupational stuff.
Because you require us to dress professional. No, I don't get to take my jacket.
So occupational jobs that require like a uniform, like if you work in a service business or something like that, and you have uniforms, and companies take that out of your pay, much a week.
Yes, if they take it out of your pay, then that is tax deductible, like a polo. A lot of them have the polos with your name on it. That is tax deductible.
Well, a lot of companies, if you have warehouse employees, Coca-Cola or whatever, you pay $7, maybe $7 a week for rotating. That you need to know about.
Yes, that is a tax deduction.
Scrubs, like in hospitals, stuff like that. In specialized shoes because of hospitals.
Yes, like my husband's required to wear steel-toed boots.
Right.
So he can take his steel-toed work boots.
Okay. What about travel? We got just a couple minutes.
So travel.
No matter who you are, we've talked about people that have jobs out of state.
Lots of people travel. I travel for my job.
Right.
A couple times a year I go to meetings, and this year it's Vegas. So while I go to Vegas again, my parking, my cab, my airfare.
What are you doing in Vegas?
It's convention.
Just saying.
While we're there, we'll have to be entertained, and that is also tax deductible. Crystal says we're going to see Britney Spears, but I'm really hoping we're not. She's just not my thing.
Really, Crystal? Really, Crystal?
I know, right?
Really?
I know,
Britney Spears.
Do I look like a Britney Spears fan? I don't, do I?
No, I'm with you on that.
I know. I do know some of the songs, though, because her and her girls like them, so I do know a few of them.
Yeah, I understand.
It wouldn't be a total bust.
Anyway. I wouldn't admit that, though. Just put that on your list. I don't admit that.
Okay, Brian says I do not admit I'm a Britney Spears list.
No, you don't know. I know nothing.
So your entertainment, your meals, anything that you would do while you're out of town because of your job and away from home, then you can take that. If you travel like a truck driver, they can take showers. They go to the truck stops and pay, I don't know, $5, $7 to take a shower at a truck stop. Laundry while you're gone. Their entertainment can be as little as, hooking up to the TV. That a lot of the truck stops have where you can plug into their satellite or cable TV and watch TV in your vehicle while you sleep. Or, like I said, as big as a show in Vegas. Entertainment counts while you're out of town as well.
So what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas unless it's the government. You have to tell them, right?
Well, I don't know if the government, you don't have to tell the truth, so.
Okay.
I could say I don't know.
All right.
I could just say I don't know.
No, I like that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing at all. Beth, I appreciate it so much. Folks, what we do every week here on Tax Tips with Beth Bennett from H&R Block is we try to bring up subjects every week that identify why you should actually have a tax preparer. And there's so many things that are going on out there that you should have, my opinion, a tax preparer. And you should work with somebody can trust, and will work with you, and you enjoy it. Where are your locations?
We have 71 River Street in downtown, 500 Highland Crossings up there by the Walmart, and 368 Craig Street between Pools Barbecue and the drugstore. And you can call them at 706-635-5563. Did I get that? You got it. Okay, and you can call them because, hey, during tax season, they have office hours. But if you call them, they will work with you any way they can
to help get your taxes prepared and filed on time. Did I say that correctly?
You got
You
it.
good with that?
We're there to help. We'll be there around the clock to help you.
And she's going to Vegas. And Crystal's going to a Britney Spears show. All the things you'll learn. I'm your host, BKP. Take us a break. When we come back, now at the bottom here, leave that scroller when we come back. I'm going to explain that. We'll be back after these messages.